and welcome to my channel. Today we are back on GTA 5 Online, and today we've received one new vehicle this week. The vehicle in question is the Declasse Tulip, costing $718,000. That's quite an expensive car. $718,000 is a reasonably expensive car. It's about the same sort of money as a classic supercar, sports car-ish sort of thing, not really a muscle car. So hopefully it's quite a good car. It's probably going to have quite a bit of customization, I can imagine. Right, so I've just bought it and it's over here in my garage. Let's take a look at what it is. In real life, this is based off of the 1972 Chevrolet Chevelle Malibu. You can just tell by the front end here, it's very Chevelle-like. And I think the back, if I look closely over this way, the back is, yeah, that looks to me like a Oldsmobile Cutlass kind of look about it. Sort of looks like the Sabre Turbo does in this game. Kind of nicked the back end of that. I'm loving them black wheels. They are brilliant. I thought they'd be alloy, judging by the picture on the internet. Anyway, let's just jump in and take a look at the customization. Sounds pretty average with the startup. Interior's pretty boring. It's just a general muscle car classic interior that Rockstar uses. So nothing unique there. Let's have a look. So we've got bumpers first of all, visually. So let's just scroll down. I won't bother reading it. We'll just have a quick scroll down to have a little look. So that's it. So we've got this amount, which ain't got a decent amount of customization. Make it look like a drag car of some kind. Rear end we've got painted or we've got stock, so I don't know what the difference is there because I think the primary and secondary is black, so we leave that off because I want to put that in chrome later on. Exhaust, so we've got side exit exhaust over here as standard, then we've got straight pipes which look cool but just need a bit wider, like that. And we've got massive exhaust and we've got chrome, yeah, we've got exhaust on the side there. In real life, again, I think the exhausts are like not like this, I like that, so I'm going to stick them on the chrome tip exhausts. And then we've got the bonnet. So we've got all the hood pins. Let me just scroll down and have a look here. Oh, look at that, the butterfly valves work. That's brilliant, I love that. So that's is the Imperator, or whatever it's called, one of the Arena War vehicles have the working butterfly valves. And I wondered if it seems to be a new addition to this game. They seem to have a new animation, which is fantastic.
I can do it.
So some absolutely crazy customization going on there, but I'm going to keep it standard because I like it as it is. So right, we've got classic stripes. I do like them stripes a lot. They're very, very realistic. Oh, that's a cool livery. I like that. Nice. We've got some good liveries of this, especially in black. Now, I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this car because I do quite like the liveries.
No rush at all.
But the wheels aren't exactly standard to what they would look like in real life because I was going to think of putting like crackers on, those muscle car sort of style wheels, but in chrome. But I quite like them, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in that case. Let's just stick this. I don't know what colour to go for either. I was going to say white, but it might be worth putting a black one on, and then maybe changing the colour to blue or something. Resprays. I think the primary. I think we're going to have like a classic colour. I don't think metallic will go very well with the stripe. And I've just realised that the wheels are colour coded. That's interesting. Now, is that the same for standard wheels? Like when you change the wheels, what's the secondary? Ah, chrome. I'll have that. I'll have that in chrome. That looks good. Well, I'm really liking it in black with them wheels with the chrome trim now. Ooh, we got decisions. Right, so let's have a quick look at the spoilers. We've got lip spoiler, we've got ducktail, low level, blah blah blah, normal stuff. Not particularly brilliant customization in terms of spoilers, but they're not bad at all. Wheels, right, and this is where I'm not quite sure where to go with this. I was thinking going for crackers, which are here, these wheels, but have them in chrome, but I'm not quite sure now. It does look good, but I really like the standard wheels as well. I do like the fact it's got a really fat tyre profile. Yeah, I'm going to have to leave it like that and then stick the white stripe on it. The camera's going a different angle. Right, there we go. Here we go. There, I've got control of the camera now. Right, so I'll go for the white stripe, I think. Yes, we'll leave it like that. So there we go. There's the customization. Not the most advanced customizable car in this game. There is better, but generally, as it looks, that looks fantastic. Hopefully, the sound is to match. Let's go into third person. Let's go into passive mode. Stop all these missions and things gibbering on. In terms of the sound, it sounds pretty much exactly the same as any kind of muscle car that's in this game. I'm not so sure about the livery. I don't know what's going on with the textures, but in the distance you can see it's quite blurry. I don't know what's going on there. Whoa, it has barely any rear end grip though, this car, as I just discovered. It doesn't exactly feel very fast. That's one thing I will say. Does this have any? I don't know whether any of you people who know a lot about the inner workings of these cars would know if this has got any advanced flags. Because to me, it feels like it's got very pungent flags that are really affecting the way how this car drives. In terms of its sound, it actually sounds like the Vapid Ellie in terms of the way that it kind of sounds like it's electronically limited, which sounds a bit odd for an old muscle car like this, but it does. It sounds a bit limited. But once you actually get it going, it's not too bad. It's not a particularly fast car, but then what would you expect from an old muscle car, a 1970s muscle car? But I think this is definitely one of the best looking muscle cars we've had. It's absolutely brilliant, especially with all the chrome trim and everything. It definitely looks brilliant. But in terms of its performance, it does feel rather odd. It feels like the Vapid Ellie underneath. Whoa, it doesn't like bumps that much. Definitely, it doesn't really have that much rear end grip either, which does cause havoc for going around street corners like this. But it does make cool drifting scenes, I suppose. Actually, to be honest, it doesn't sound as electronically limited as the Ellie does. Full. But yeah, in terms of the way it looks, it's fantastic. Also, it's a 4-door. I forgot to mention that it's a 4-door. Look at that. That's absolutely brilliant being a 4-door. I wonder if we can jump in the back. Have a little investigate how cramped it is in the back there. Jump into first person, I think it makes it a bit easier to get into the back. Even though you do get denied. Get in the back. Get in the... it doesn't work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You can jump in the back. But unfortunately, the case is no. And it's very cramped to the back there anyway for the rear passengers. I don't even know where I'm going. So in terms of just general driving about and getting to place, it's not a bad car to drive. It's quite a nice car to drive in terms of it just looks good. It sounds okay. It's not a horrible sounding noise. It sounds a bit muted and a bit not as muscly as I was expecting it to, but it still sounds good. I'm not saying it sounds terrible at all. The handling is quite nice to drive. It does feel like an old muscle car, which is really, really cool. However, if you are trying to get away from someone in an oppressor or in a supercar, then you've got to take something. Because it is pretty slow. Right, just take this up to my arena garage, because I like this, because at the moment I'm just sorting out my garages, and I'm trying to keep the office garages empty, so I can easily customise my cars around to go off to a tuning shop or whatever. Because I haven't got the garage upgrades or anything in the arena, it's just simply a garage space. But in turn, I just love the way this car looks. I think it's one. Hopefully you all enjoyed my best sounding startups video I made the other day. It's definitely those sort of videos grew my channel as large as it is. If it wasn't for them, I don't think my channel would really exist that well. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. And here is the Tulip. I think Tulip is a bit of a weird name. Again, it's like Vapid Ellie. It doesn't sound like a muscle car's name. It sounds, I don't know, it sounds like a bit of a nickname in a way. If you played Far Cry 5, there's a character in that game who has a helicopter, and she named it the Tulip. It's a bit of an oxymoron, really. Right, let's go and test out the performance of this car generally around the track. I know we're pretty much 10 minutes into the video already. Let's just have a look at online jobs, play job, my job, and let's do my stunt race. I really need to make a new test track, I think. So what we're going to do, I think a good competition for this car would be the Vapid Ellie, then of course the Tulip itself. What else would we think would be a good one to do? We'll just have a look at we'll just generally have a browse of the class and see what's available. I say in value it's quite expensive, but then it's not too expensive at the same time. It's rather average in terms of its price. Because thinking about it, you have cars like the Croquette, or Croquette, however you pronounce it, Blackfin, that's nearly $1 million. The same as the Benefactor Sterling GT. I actually haven't looked at what class this thing's in. I assumed it was in muscle, but it might not be. We'll just have a browse anyway. So there's the Vapid Ellie. It's a good car, that, the Ellie. Ah, there it is, the custom Tulip. So there we go, there's my Tulips. I think let's have a look around. So we've got the Tampa here, that's about $350,000 from memory. And you've got the Sabre. The Sabre's a very good car, but that is really expensive. Like, it's about $700,000 to $900,000 just to do the tuning upgrade, so that's quite expensive. Nightshade's not exactly a fast beast either, but it definitely sounds and looks good as well. I don't know, what else should we rate? I think the Ellie definitely should be one of them. We need something around the same sort of price bracket, which some of these really are in completely different price brackets. Let's just try the Tulip at first and just set the boundaries. Let's see where we're looking.
Hey, hit me up on Life Invader later.
Big love for the life partner.
Third person. It definitely don't feel very fast. Whoa, okay, that's all. Yeah, it's bouncing about a little bit. It doesn't like this at all. Yeah, the handling is a little bit squirmy. It just feels very slow. It just feels limited. It really does. It just feels limited. If that's an accurate way of saying. Whoa, yeah, as you can tell, I am struggling a bit trying to keep this thing in the straight and narrow, as they say. Very bouncy. The suspension definitely has a long travel, so it just makes the car jump up and down over some of the smallest bumps. Wait, the tyre warped ad there. The brakes aren't too bad either. They're not bad, but not brilliant either. So I think there is one weak spot with the cars in this game, the brakes. They are a bit rubbish. They're making you inclined to upgrade them and spend your money, that's why. But knowing me, I like to keep my cars standard, generally just for the cost savings, and just generally having a look at the car before customisation, really. But as you can see, we have scored with the Tulip, a first, obviously, a 1:23.48. So that's quite a good lap time, to be honest. I think even some of the sportier cars are getting like 1:30s. But it all depends on what handling flags there are and what the handling's like. If with the Italy GTO the other day, a couple of weeks ago, that was quite a hard car to drive because of the advanced flags. And I think Bruffy, the big YouTuber Bruffy, he's put out like a request to Rockstar for people to sign, like a petition, that's the word I was after, to remove advanced flags, which to be honest would be a great idea, because the advanced flags are such a pain. Like, if you listen to the Vapid Ellie now, you would understand what I mean by the fact that it sounds limited. So we go over to the Ellie now. We've got some pretty good cars in the muscle class. It's completely and utterly blown out of the water, the classing system, because you've got cars like this that are very slow, and then you've got cars like this that are pretty quick, and then they're completely unbalanced. Like, there's not modern muscle, and then there's not classic muscle or retro muscle, something like that. It's quite irritating because you've got to try and test cars within a certain class within a class. I've mentioned this in previous videos that there are certain classes within a car class. So muscle would have like maybe 3 tiers. Maybe tiers is probably a better description. Anyway, this well, yeah, so it does feel very similar, this car, but it does feel slightly faster in terms of acceleration. As I was saying about the car classes, you have, I think maybe the sports car category is probably the best one to explain. You have 3 tiers, I think, in there. There may be more, maybe less. It all depends on what your perspective is. But I would say there's like 1 tier, which is like the Vapid Bullet, maybe like the Turismo R, things like that. Cars that are in the sports class, but not that fast. Then there's others where you've got like a secondary class, which is like the Zentorno, the T20, that sort of thing. And then there's tier 3, which is the Pariah, which there isn't actually a tier 3 car left in there yet. It's only just 1 tier 3, which is the Pariah. And I am completely screwing this up. Bloody bins. If only Rockstar gave us the ability to remove all this crap from the road. I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm trying to say. We'll knock a few seconds off for that dopey mistake, but by the looks of things, we're going to be a few seconds slower anyway. So it's cut about 7 seconds off that, just because of how crappy my driving was. But even so, it's still pretty slow. So it hit a 30, admittedly I did crash those bins, which is a bit unfortunate. But I think the main reason why I was a bit slow there is because I didn't realise the car's capabilities. I thought that the back end would come out a bit more than it actually did, and the brakes were a lot better than the Tulips, which I thought were about the same. So, to be honest, they're very, very similar in terms of the handling. I think the brakes on the Ellie are better, and the acceleration is better. However, the top speed does feel rather limited. Again, with that engine sound, as you heard, the Ellie and the Tulip have both got very similar sounds, if not the same sound, and they both sound very limited. It sounds like you're not actually hitting the rev limiter when the car's changing gear, so really you're not actually experiencing the peak power of the engine, which means, well, really, you're not going anywhere, which is such a shame, because I think the Tulip and the Ellie would be very, very quick cars in that case, if they had no advanced flags. Because I seem to remember there was an advanced flag which enabled cars to change gear earlier or later. So if you look on the dashboard when in first person, you see the rev counter hit the limiter, but some cars change before and some cars change after. It all depends on these advanced flags and whatever. And the Tulip and the Ellie both have the same thing, where they don't sound like they're hitting the limiter. They may do on the dashboard, where you can have a look at the dashboard, you see that it's hit the limiter, but really it hasn't. Like, you know, the engine could really be a lot more capable. This car's not so bad. The Ellie was the worst, and it's alright when you're sitting there revving up like this, but when you're driving along, nearly did a wheelie there. In terms of it just sounds like it's changing gear too early. Annoyingly, we can't really look at the dashboard while driving, so I've got to creep the camera angled down slightly. But actually, my hypothesis has been completely guessed, because the rev count is going way over the limiter, which means that it is actually going to the car's capabilities. However, I'm just doing it by sound alone. It definitely just doesn't sound like it's experiencing the best it could do, which sounds to me like the advanced flags are taking place here, which is the only thing that's limiting the performance of this, to be honest. Now, I can't remember the price of the Vapid Ellie. Let's have a look. Is it legendary? Must be legendary. I haven't played this game for so long, I don't even know where everything is and what I'm doing. And I'm wrong, it's not on legendary, it's on Southern San Andreas. So the Ellie is there. So 565,000. So these cars are very similar in terms of performance and handling feel, and even the engine sounds exactly the same. The interior actually in the Ellie is unique. So out of my money, if I had worked hard for 700k or maybe 750k, what would I do? Would I spend 700k on a standard version of this, or would I spend 700k on the Ellie and then customizing it? I'd personally go for the Ellie. I don't think the Ellie looks as good as this. I think this is definitely a better looking car out of the lot, out of the two. But the interior is unique with the Ellie. The performance is slightly better with the Ellie, and it's 200 grand cheaper. So I don't know. I would go for the Ellie if you were limited and strapped on cash. luckily for me, I've sold an absolute ton of my stuff and worked extremely hard for a long time to get this money. So, and I've saved up for these DLCs where I can just buy cars and review them, so I'm prepared. But if I only had limited time to play the game and only could I generate 750,000 and maybe in about 2 or 3 days, the Ellie would be the car I'd choose. However, I really like the way this looks. It's a 4-door as well, that's a bonus, and the fact it just looks awesome like this as well. I don't know, it's definitely a tough choice. But anyway, there we go. Thank you very much for watching this video today. This video is slightly later, I think, than it would be, because Forza Horizon 4 has got a DLC as well, where quite an interesting thing has happened. So I think if all plans go ahead, sorry, this video should be released on the Thursday or the Wednesday, depends whichever one I fancy. Probably the Wednesday, and then today will be, which is a Tuesday, it will be the Forza video. However, at the moment, my Forza isn't updating, so it may turn out to be Wednesday Forza and today GTA. But whatever, you probably know what's going on anyway, because you're watching this video now. It's probably in the future or in the future from now, so obviously you know what's going on. But at the moment, I don't know what the plans are, particularly what's going to happen. So yeah, Forza today or GTA today, or maybe GTA or Forza tomorrow. But anyway, let's stop you from gibbering. Thank you very much for watching this video today, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye.